Hey, heads up. We talk about serious, sometimes uncomfortable shit on this podcast. But don't worry, hopefully you're gonna laugh your ass off.
Coping Chaos.
Thanks for joining us for Coping Chaos, a podcast about coping with the chaos of daily life while also navigating the uncertainties of mental illness. I'm Leia Williams.
And I'm KJ Cervi. We're not medical professionals in any way, but we like to say we're not experts, but experts in our own mental health. We want to have a conversation with anyone who's been affected by mental illness in any way.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is our part 2 episode. I'm sure you all heard last week the stuff we shared about guilt and shame and just explaining kind of what they're about and all. So,
yeah, welcome. Thanks for listening. And if you didn't hear that, go back to that one and start there.
It's really good, especially because, like we've said many times, guilt and shame are just a side product of everything you deal with mental health. So let's see. Now that we understand the differences, since that's what we were mainly focusing on episode 1, I should say, we'll talk about the guilt and shame that we feel, or our perceptions on how our guilt and shame we feel when our mental health is like affecting other people, or well, for lots of different things.
Right.
But we're going to start with story because we love our stories and we have so many all the time. So I'll let you go ahead and start, KJ, if you want.
Okay. Yeah. So this is something like this week, last week has been really on my mind. Big thing about this whole thing is I'm always afraid of letting others down. That's just hands down everything.
Yeah.
And later I'll talk about burden. It's like basically similar, but like those are the two things that rule my life in my brain. But, I got the job I have. I work at a school. I'm a secretary with special education, and I got it a little over a year ago. And so we're coming up on the, end of the school year, and it went so fast. But I love my job. I love all the people I work with. I love the other secretaries. Each secretary has 2 schools that we work at, but then we all get together and like work on stuff and how we can kind of make every school kind of work the same.
Yeah.
And I love those ladies. And then, the people I work with in my offices, I like those too. I just realized with our family, we're struggling and we're looking, my husband has a great job, but, and I have a full-time job, except for the summers, I'm all gone, And so I realized that I need to start looking. And so I've started looking for jobs and I feel really guilty, and I just don't want to let everybody I work with down. I feel so bad, even saying that, but I was like, I want to get a year-round job and I want to do schools still. And there are like office positions not currently open. They all through the day you get sent what openings they keep posting and you get it before it goes out,
Well, that's nice.
It is, but like every time I see that name pop up, because it goes in my other folders for some reason, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's, and I've, heard through the grapevine there might be something that's open, but I'm like, 100% I want to stay in that district, but, whatever's best for our family that I find, I'll have to do that. But just thinking about that and letting people down. And, I just feel really guilty about that.
I understand that. That makes sense.
That's a rough one, but it's very current right now. And and I know everything will work out and they'll be fine and someone will get that job. Or, we do have a bargaining group that's trying to work on a better contract and maybe I stay a little longer. I'm not like I'm 100% going to go, but even just looking
makes
you
feel it. Yeah, exactly.
What do you got?
Well, I think the big one I was thinking about, it has a lot to do with my mental health, was the fact that my husband does not have, as far as we know, any mental health issues or anything, which I just cannot even fathom, but he doesn't. But recently his job, which he just left, it was so toxic that he was stressed and he was depressed. And like he's having symptoms of things he's never had, tired, easy to anger, things that are not his personality because he doesn't deal with depression. He didn't even realize that he's dealing with depression. But like I recognize the signs and I know he is. But at the same time, I'm feeling depressed or sad. And so like I'm feeling completely guilty because I know exactly what he's feeling.
Right.
And the fact that he never has to deal with her. And I almost feel like I need to put my depression on the back burner. I don't know. It's so hard. And I feel guilty that I can't do that for him. Like, because he deserves to have a partner that supports him in the way he supports me during my depression.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just feel complete guilt because I'm like, he does this for me. I need to do it for him. And when I can't do it in the level that I want to, I just feel so guilty about that. And it doesn't happen often where he gets depressed or he has mood issues ever because he's just a very calm, relaxed guy,
And it's just situational depression.
Yeah, but he was being treated so bad and having to work long hours doing a job he hated, even though that wasn't what he was supposed to be doing with his job. Like, so
he
many
moved
things.
Everybody out here. Because,
and we moved all the way to Minnesota to do that. So it's not like he can just leave. And then, like I'd said, there was a stipulation where, they paid him a certain amount of money beforehand. So to leave the job, you'd have to pay that back. And so it's a big so he was very stressed about it. But luckily he found another job that's way better. So yay. But I just remember thinking what a horrible person I am that I can't give him what he gives me on a constant basis with his 100%. Stuff. Like the only thing I could do really was try to do more with the kids so that he could relax. But it's like there was nothing more I could do that I wished I could have.
I know. I've been there when Lucas is down or, and I'm just like, what can I do? What can I do? And he's like, I don't know. And
but you want to because it's like you've helped me so much that I want to reciprocate when it's finally that
take
time.
A nap.
Right? But what helps me isn't going to help the person that I want to help. So I have to I don't know. I want them to tell me, but they don't know because with Ryan, he's never experienced it. So he doesn't know.
Yeah. But that goes right in to our next one.
Yeah. Right.
So we got productivity, guilt and shame, resting, not cleaning, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not pulling the weight that I feel like I should be pulling periodically.
Yeah. So me, even physically, there are tasks I will never be able to do. I mean, I could do the dishes a little bit, but I'm never going to do it like I think I should. So I have the guilt of that. But then I also have the guilt of asking others to do it.
Yes.
Especially if, I've asked once, and then I'm like, but who am I to ask them?
Right.
Because I can't do it. I should be able to do it, even though I know I'm physically not able to do it.
Or if the person you ask reacts like with my oldest daughter, and it's the biggest thing that I've ever asked. And I'm like, dude, it's tiny and it would really help me,
Yeah.
But
asking my oldest, can you help me put my bottom sheet on my bed? And no, I don't live here anymore. While she's here using my washer and dryer.
And you're like, what?
Anyways, that was... But
yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I was guilt and then what's shame like that? And I feel shame, and here we go. I'm telling everybody to say I eat my dinner in bed 90% of the time or more. And it's to a point where Sophie doesn't like it when we eat at the table because she's able to watch her shows.
Oh.
But I feel like a terrible mom, and Sophie's, adapted and she actually likes that time. But I'm like, oh, what a horrible parent. I'm upstairs eating and Lucas will usually eat with me sometimes, but I need that because I can't move after work, and then I have to work tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Well, and when you grow up looking at what a traditional family does, quote, and you see on the TV, the breakfast commercial where we're sitting around the table, but I have trauma from that myself.
Yeah.
So that actually is not comfortable for me sitting around a table. I mean, just the trauma from it, but really I feel like if I were to sit with my family it would be fun, really. Maybe. But we don't do that just because of the fact that it's traumatizing for me. But
I think of what other people do.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
That's not normal. And then there's people who you have to have bed clothes and outside clothes. I'm like, fuck that, dude.
You're lucky I got out of bed. So let's just say that you're lucky I have clothes on. Okay, so let's just celebrate the fact that I'm wearing something and I got out of bed.
I watched a clip on TikTok or something, and it was I think Cameron Diaz who in her New York apartment. Not only does she make people take shoes off. Like, she makes you take off your outside New York City clothes. Like, she has clothes for you. She's like, and I think it was on the Drew Barrymore show, and she's like, yeah, she makes you put on a clothes condom or something.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
That's
I
funny.
could not. That would give me so much anxiety. I'm like, sorry. And like watching like Kardashians a long time ago, they're like, oh, I can't go sit on the bed. I gotta change, you know.
Oh yes, everybody's got like a specific way they do it.
So now I'm horrible because I'm like, oh, I just came in. I'm flopping down in my bed. I don't care.
Passing out.
Wash my sheets once a month. Or
more for me sometimes. No, it's no lie. So. I think for me, one of the biggest things that I always feel for productivity type of guilt would be like if my husband's at work and I'm at home and I just sit down and I start to watch a movie.
Yeah.
All I can think of is he's actively working right now and I am sitting here. But there's also times where he's home playing a game and I'm cooking or cleaning.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's like it's so hard for me to think like that. But a lot of times, or I'll try to do like, and I don't know why I do this, but I try to do extra in front of him so he sees that I'm doing all this. Yeah. So that way during the week when I don't do as much when I'm depressed, he thinks I am, even though I'm not, which sounds so bad, but like it's my guilt because it's like I feel guilty as if he thinks I'm not pulling my weight, which I don't think I am sometimes. So it's like if I don't think I am, then he must not think I am. And so I just feel guilty, like I need to do more. And
we have our next one is guilt, shame for effect on others.
Yeah, see, wow, I'm doing good with this. What the heck?
You were just getting through.
That's really funny.
So I wrote guilt for saying no when work needs to fill in, like they need someone.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we might have heard earlier a ding and I just noticed that was my work, like, hey, KJ, I'm wondering if you could come in early at 2:20. And I'm like, I'm barely going to get to work because we got to finish this episode. I'm like, well, I have an hour till I have to be there. But it's so hilarious because I'm like, oh, I should be available for everybody. Blah, 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 blah. I feel guilty. And then that popped up and
you're like, fun. Oh gosh, here it is.
Fun because I'll be like, oh, I was recording my podcast. I didn't see
it. Yeah.
Until they hear this.
Yeah, right. Dun, dun, dun.
But yeah, it's always about other people in my brain. It's
yes.
like, I want to help other people.
Why do I prioritize other people's happiness over my own, even a stranger's happiness over my own, and then feel guilty when I don't do it properly? And it's like, what?
Yeah, we were talking about you were talking about one time about, a stranger talking to you and telling you the story. And it's like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do it, but they need to, you said.
Yeah, I kept thinking they must need it to get it out. And so I'm like more concerned about this person's like mental health than my own. Yeah, and it's like, what am I doing here? What is going on? Yeah. Well, for me, one of the biggest things is snapping or saying hurtful things when I'm overwhelmed or overstimulated. And it seems like I only do it to people I care about. Like, as soon as I love you, you're going to get it. And it sucks. Like, I hate it. And there's so many times where I will send a text to somebody and then immediately, and I know they read it, and I think, God, I wish I could take that back right now. Right. Just because when I'm overwhelmed, it's like I'm using my words for pain, even though it's like I'm trying to do it, but I don't want to do it at the same time because I know I'm going to feel guilty and terrible about it, and I don't want to hurt a person, but it doesn't make sense. And so I feel a lot of guilt with that. That's something I work on a lot because especially with, like I said, my husband, I will just sometimes be so overwhelmed, and then I'll just turn to him and just take it. Like all the things that have been bothering me about things he's been doing wrong, I will just start going off about, and he's sitting here like, what the heck did I do? So that's a huge one that I feel terrible about. It's really hard to hurt the person you love, but it's so easy at the same time because you can be your most vulnerable self around them. Exactly. And so you start to get too comfortable, and then I just feel like the line shifts. And so I say things that I really shouldn't be saying even to the person that I'm closest to, because there's still things you should not vocalize.
Right.
You know? So filter. But
And then the other big one for me is burden,
Oh, yeah. Feeling like a burden for people.
Yeah, I don't want the family to see me struggle. I keep saying this. It's so, every time I talk, it's like I'm the worst that I've ever been because I'm just getting worse and worse. But my hitting myself is really bad right now. And it's so hard because Lucas wants me to stop. And And he's like, it hurts me when you do that, and I don't want to hurt him, but I can't control my intrusive thoughts and my compulsions.
And I feel like it also, because I've done that a few times to myself as well, and I feel like it's like an adrenaline release almost, like you're releasing something
and
when
it's
you're
like
doing
a tick, like if you have a tick, you can't always stop it.
Exactly.
I'm like, I have to do it. So yeah, being a burden and making other people hurt.
Yeah.
Big guilt.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. One of my other ones I said was canceling plans. That's a huge one for me. Yeah. And I know I talked about when we were talking about our work, how I would call out a lot, and that's kind of the same thing. Like I would cancel my shift, or I would cancel plans with. I wrote down the Leia that made the plans is not the Leia that's here with us in the building today. But that's a big thing for me is I'll, in the moment, make a plan with somebody because I really do want to do that with them. But then as it gets closer and closer, I'm starting to overthink it. I'm starting to... or I forgot about it, and then it's the day of it, and then I'm so freaked out because I didn't overthink it, that I didn't get the chance to overthink it, that I don't want to go, And that's one of the biggest ways I've lost friends and acquaintances even is because I cancel plans or I don't respond to texts right away or, things like that. Yeah. Communication, which is so important. But I always have guilt for canceling. But there's a lot of times where it's like it wouldn't, like you said before, it wouldn't be conducive to your mental health to have gone to your friend's thing or whatever because you just know you're not in the right state of mind for that type of a thing. So
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I see on here we have like guilt and shame for needing help.
Yeah.
And, Leia's favorite thing is to ask for help.
Yeah.
And I hate it too. I mean, I'm in a situation where Lucas is always like, just ask me for help. And so I try, but, it's hard and I feel guilty.
Yeah.
I put here, like, there's things like I should use my mobility devices more, but I feel guilty. I'm judging myself or other people judging. And I wrote, do I really need it? Like I say myself that, do I really need it? Do you, what mobility device do you really need? And then at the same time, there's times that I'm like, oh, you should have just done it. Why were you thinking about putting it in the back of the truck would take more time and blah, blah, blah. So it's funny. I can judge myself either way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that happens to me a lot too. Or like, it's the self-blame game too. Yeah, it just goes into self-blame. And yeah, for me, it's like phone calls. I hate making phone calls. I make Ryan that's why I was talking about my car accident that I had, and I made him talk to the state trooper first, and then they're like, he wasn't even in the accident. I can't talk to you, sir. Yeah, I was really upset about the fact that, or I feel a lot of guilt and shame for the fact that I need help with making phone calls or making certain appointments if you're talking to them on the phone. I could do it if it's like an online appointment. I love online appointments. That's the best. But or when I have to ask him to do something, like he had the whole day at work, I usually cook dinner when he gets home, and there'll be days I didn't, and I'll just be like, I need you to figure out dinner. And I'll feel guilty even though he's fine with that. He likes me to tell him that. He has no problem with 50-50ing with the kids, and like he's not the type of dad where it's like I'm home, I don't want to do anything.
No,
he's not like that at all. It's just he is the type of person where you kind of have to direct him a little bit on what to do, but then he does it. So I'll be like, the kids might need a bath tonight, and then he's like, cool, I got that. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But I will feel guilty though, because it's like, if it was the other way around and I was working all day and coming home tired and I knew he was home all day and he asked me to do it, would I react the same way? I don't know, But anyway, so I definitely, I ruminate on it. Or another thing, I don't do what I said I would, even though I promised. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I feel so guilty. And an example that would be like Ryan needing his work pants washed in the evening. And then I go, don't worry about it. I'll do it for you. You keep doing whatever. And then I don't do it, and then because I get depressed and I'm like, I can't even get up. I can't do it. Yeah. And then he goes, where's my work pants? And I'm like, they're still dirty. So he'll just wear them dirty to work. But I feel terrible because he was going to do it, but I promised him I would do it. Right. And so in the end, I feel terribly guilty because he could have had clean pants. He would have just done it if I had not offered, So
yeah, that's hard. Guilt is everything. Yeah. And, we wrote here, guilt can make us think that independence equals worth. And that's just...
And I still, it's hard for me to get past that as not a thing, but it's not, There's plenty of people who are not independent fully. Like, people that are paralyzed. I'm talking physically right now, but you know, like there's a lot of examples out there of people that aren't independent, quote unquote, but it doesn't mean they're not worthy of living a normal life, of a quality life. Or it doesn't mean they're not like rocket scientists either. You know, there's stuff for everyone to contribute, but it's really hard to think that way. Yeah. When you're at home in bed and you see the dishes in your mind and you see the dirt on the floor and you see your child, you know, needs a bath and you're just like, I'm not good enough. I'm not, you know, I'm just not good enough of a person because I can't get myself to do it or whatever.
Hard. This is literally, guys, constant in our heads.
Yeah.
Everything is guilt. It's like on a loop and it's hard.
Yeah, it gets annoying at times. It's just like, is there a button I could just turn it off? Because if so, first off, I'll be pissed off that I didn't know about it till now. But if there is, somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. Because honestly, driving me insane.
So yeah, we have our upcoming episodes. We are talking about meltdowns, dysregulation, disagreements. Dysregulation is hard. We call it meltdowns as like dysregulation's what they say at therapy. And you know,
it sounds fancier, but meltdown to me is more realistic because that's what I feel like. I literally melting like. Or I wish I was.
My autistic daughter, when she was in, she went to a school that was a therapy school to help her after she was inpatient. And she always called them freakouts, and they hated that.
Oh, really? I like that, though.
Well, because they liked to, you know, they don't want it to be judgmental or whatever. Yeah. But her therapist, because we'd have to have family therapy twice a month or something, and she'd be like, well, as Sophie calls it, freakouts. Like, she'd be like, I don't want to call it that, But yeah, anyways, we're going on a tangent. But we will have lots to talk about then.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say I have a lot. And we can share the experiences we go through, what brings us to those things, what we do after we've had those things, and which is guilt, by the way. Guilt and shame, just throwing that out there. But and then after that, it's going to be, like it says, all about anxiety. Well, maybe not all, because that would take a long time. But yeah, we're doing an episode on anxiety because that definitely affects us. Yeah. And honestly, anxiety affects everyone. In my opinion, everyone feels a form of anxiety at one point or time in their life. They might not have permanent anxiety.
Right.
But everybody gets an anxious feeling. And I feel like that'll be a nice episode for people that even don't have mental illness can relate to on some level.
And then they'll learn what we feel that in like...
So they can see what heightened anxiety feels like permanent anxiety. Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like it's that time.
Woo, woo.
Chaos.
What is your chaos corner?
All right. Well, mine, I called it Archie's haircut fiasco.
Oh, no!
And you'll see his hair is not cut, so you'll know why. So we got my dog from my sister a couple months ago now, and he's the cutest dog, sweetest dog. He's a little Cavalier King Charles, like ruby color. So he's like red. He's cute. He's
gorgeous.
Cute dog. But
and sweet.
Yeah, he's super sweet. But I recently, probably a couple weeks ago, I think it was like 4 weeks ago, we were going to take him in to get his haircut. Yeah. So you have to bring them into the pet places at the Pet Expo to meet the hairdresser so they can look at him and tell you the pricing and all that. And she was really nice. But I was anxious, you know, going in and doing it, but I did it. And I was so proud of myself. And then I got the card from the lady, and she's like, you know, if there's any problem, you can just text me or text my home phone or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. We get back home, and all of a sudden he was doing that, you know, that snorting. You heard him. That snorting. And so I'm like, what is that? And so I look it up, and they're like, oh, it could be kennel cough, you know, which is a big thing that you can get. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, is it that, you know? And so I canceled the appointment because it was for the next day. And I'm like, if he has kennel cough, that's extremely contagious, you know? So I'm freaking out, like, I can't bring him in. And so I'm scared because like I have to call this lady because I felt like I could text her, but I felt like I had to call her to explain it. I don't know why I felt that way, but I was putting it off and putting it off. Eventually I did call her and I canceled it, and she was totally fine, but I was so stressed about it. But then afterwards I'm stressed because he's doing this coughing thing or this thing, all of this, and I'm upset. And we finally get him in, and his breed has inverted sneezing. So that's what his breed does. They just snort and sound like a pig. But I thought it's kennel cough because I'm looking up, you know, he's making a weird noise, and they're like, oh, well, it could be kennel cough. And so I thought for sure that's So anyway,
Dr. Google.
Yeah, I was like, thanks. Well, we went to the vet, so we have a vet bill.
Oh, no.
Well, we have puppy insurance. We got pet insurance for him. I didn't even know they had that.
Yeah,
but
no,
we got that.
I've been waiting for a job that has that. But.
Yeah. So we got that, and it's like, I mean, it's kind of pricey. It's like $70 a month or something, but
you take them in, and it's like $1,000.
Yeah, exactly, and it covers a lot of things.
Oh,
so,
good. Nice.
But yeah, luckily we didn't really we do have a bill, but it's not too bad of a bill.
Good.
But it was a relief to know that, and now I know his snorting is just inverted sneezing, which I'd never even heard of before. But his breed's the princess breed. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's pretty stressful. That whole thing stressed me out, and even after it's all solved, his hair is still long. His nails need cutting, and so I'm like, do I want to go back to this lady who knew he had possible kennel cough, and then he's going to snort and she's going to think it's that? So anyway, big thing. But how about for you?
Well, okay, now that I think I wrote the same one down, but I found my list.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I was going to say.
I was like over here frantically, where's my chaos? Well, that's chaos in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other day I was driving, and I'm a rule follower. I want to follow all the rules. And there was a school bus on the other side of the road stopping. And I was kind of like, and it was an intersection.
Oh, that's so hard to know what to do.
Yeah. But it had the median, but the median was starting like right after that intersection. Like it hadn't been on the other part. And so I'm like, is it? But I was kind of in the intersection almost. So I went, but I felt really terrible because the stop was on. But again, there was a median there. But
like, what do you do in that? I wouldn't even have known what to do. I'm thinking to myself, like, what would I have done?
When there is a big median, it's okay. But I don't know. The kids weren't going to cross that street. There was no crosswalk. But I'm like, oh, they have cameras that you can get tickets.
Oh, God. You're going to get like some mail ticket or something.
And so it was 2 sets of double lines and a medium. But the median, it was starting there. So I'm like, what should I have done? Oh, no. And so I called Lucas like in the car, and I'm like, and he's like, you made a call. He's like, it's a judgment call. You were, kind of in between. And so you did it. I'm like, but everybody behind me stopped. And I'm like, and, and then I was going through it. I'm like, it wasn't clear. The bus door wasn't open yet. There was no crosswalk,
yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it's a judgment call. You did fine. I'm like, no, what if, this happened? And he's like, that didn't happen.
But it could have. Or what are those people thinking about me behind? That's what I would have been thinking.
Well, that's 100% what I was thinking. That and a ticket, and the imaginary kid I could have killed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the one that was running straight across, of course, the median.
The door wasn't even open. Oh my God. But yeah, it's funny, like just in a split second.
Oh yeah,
everything is chaotic, and I can't.
And it's so unpredictable. You can't know. But then it affects your mood for like ever afterwards. Because like I'll get anxious, my heart's racing, and I get in that flight or fight mode, and I can't just push it away when I'm like, okay, everything's fine, and it's still there affecting me.
And then at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, oh, you asshole!
Yeah, like why would you do that? Where I would have yelled at somebody for doing, but at the same time, like you're right, I would have been questioning it also.
Yeah.
But like where Scott gets picked up on the bus, it's very evident. In fact, the other day somebody went through and the driver was like, like you're in the wrong, dude. But
oh man.
But yeah, so
chaos everywhere.
Yeah, seriously. Well, we want to hear from you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard enough about guilt to now I feel guilty about that. No, I'm just kidding. But we want to hear from you. We'd love to hear any stories, anecdotes, anything you want to share, whether it's about guilt or any of our past episodes or even ideas for future episodes. We're open for anything. We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah. And you can find us anywhere to talk to us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. You can find us there. You can find us at our email, copingchaospodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. We've also have a Patreon page, so you guys need to come on over, check it out. We got the free tier for chatting, and then a few more tiers after that with lots of content. So you guys got to try it out. I think it's going to be awesome, especially as we get more and more content to put on there.
Yeah.
It's going to be
great.
I
have a lot there, so
yeah, there really is.
So just go
check
join
it out.
And you'll have a fun time. Also, please, another way to support us is review wherever you stream. Spotify and Apple Podcasts are the best way to get us seen. But, wherever you are, review, and that helps
Yes,
a lot.
please.
Well, we did it again.
Yes.
And I can get some shoes on and run to my car.
Yes.
And get to work.
Oh, good.
And then tomorrow we'll do this again.
Yes, right? Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. The biggest thing that we want everyone to know is that you're not alone in this. We want this to be a safe space to share our experiences as a community.
Exactly. And remember, we love you guys. And thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Coping Chaos. And as always, we will see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye. Coping Chaos is hosted and produced by KJ Cervi and Leia Williams. Audio mixed and edited by KJ Cervi. Our theme song is by Lucas Cervi and Leia Williams. Artwork is created by Lucas Cervi. You can now follow Coping Chaos on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Copingchaospodcast. We have also started a Patreon at Copingchaospodcast, where you can help support us and have access to exclusive content. Please feel free to rate and review wherever you stream. Send us your questions, stories, and Chaos Corner moments to copingchaospodcast@gmail.com.